The show opens with the main character drowning. It seems that he has been having this nightmare for a few nights, as he drifts off into his own world. Suddenly, he hears a voice calling from somewhere, and to his surprise, he finds himself imprisoned in a cell, where a girl is speaking to him through a glory hole. The girl warns him that a wall of spikes is slowly closing in on him. He is terrified that the girl will accuse her of placing him there, but he quickly realizes that she is in a similar predicament and begins to plan his escape. After noticing the girl has an axe with her and she has no window in her room, he comes to the conclusion that he can destroy the wooden window in his cell using the big bulbous axe, and after he promises he won't leave her behind, the plan is set in motion. However, they soon learn that the hole is too small for the thick axe to pass through. Hence, the girl tries to widen the hole but to no avail, as it's made from granite. Though the girl cries uncontrollably, Ning, the based Sigma, tells her to shut up. Yes, Ning is the main character, and at the moment his constant crying prevents him from thinking clearly. The girl can't believe that she will die too soon even before having her first kiss, to which Ning responds it's easy, just approach the glory hole. Ning inquires about the girl's journey to this location, to which she replies that she dozed off on a train and woke up in the cell next to the metal bed. Ning feels elated because he now has a means of escape. By using a metal rod from the bed, he manages to break his window, setting himself free, while Sue the Booba is glued to the wall crying for his help as the spikes get closer on her. The perfectly timed flashback shows Sue's past, how she got left behind on a mountain for wanting to stick a guy who got injured, who in turn also left her for not wanting to be his girlfriend. Going back to the original incident, it was clear that she had trouble trusting people, which is why she was taken aback when Ning returned to save her. Later, when they managed to escape their cell, he looked around and realized they were on an island. When the couple was being held captive in a lighthouse, Ning noticed that the ladder was broken in the middle and that the only way down was to jump to the other half. He accomplished this, and Sue, feeling apprehensive, leaped, landing in his arm at the point where the ladder broke because of the massive dim titties. While falling, Ning uses his body as a human shield to protect Sue, who in turn saves him from drowning and carries him to a room on the lower floors of the lighthouse. Sue discovers a dead body inside and runs into Gilgamesh, a budget cut, who threatens her with his handy butterfly knife and demands answers because he believes Sue is the one responsible for the kidnapping. She reveals her identity to him and begs him to allow her to tend to the unconscious. The attractive boy says he'll question her to make sure she's telling the truth about herself, so he treads on the man's hand and wakes him up in shock. When the blondie asks Ning if he knows the Booba, he replies that he has never seen that girl before. Savage, I know, right? However, this was not a joke. Turns out our boy suffers from amnesia caused by the nasty fall. However, the gangsta isn't quite sold, so he asks the girl to sum up in one word why the guy puts his life in danger to save her. Not even love at first sight, because our tough boy here doesn't believe in that kind of *T. After some serious consideration, the girl pulls a reverse Yumino card and asks the man how long he has known his oldest friend. He responds, 22 years. And she persuades him to let Ning go, using some sort of pseudo-logic that made my head spin so much that I gave up trying to read the subtitles. Sue tries unsuccessfully to get Ning to recall their recent experiences, as the last thing he recalls is him reading the Playboy in the 5th grade while standing in the corner, to which the blonde gives him praise. The chick began examining the corpse shortly after the group's focus was drawn to it. They then placed the body on the ground and tore off its shirt in order to further investigate. With nothing to do, Sue asks the thug who he is. Gilgamesh responds that he works for an Eastern gang, and that his name is Ji Yang, and he expects that a smuggler by the name Ming took and left them there, to which Ning explains that it's not the case, and they are in some sort of game, indicating that our boy is starting to come to his senses bit by bit. Either that or he was bloody smart for a 5th grader. After such claims, they notice a piece of paper in the mummy's ear. It's a map that Ning remarks he vaguely knows or remembers it, which consequently makes Ji Yang demand answers. But in the hazy phase, Ning can't deliver them. He eventually passes out in her arms after Big Sister Sue calmly asks him about the map after taking him away. The couple is woken up the following day by Ji Yang, who tells them they are going to the X mark point on the map and expresses his continued mistrust of them before introducing himself as the group's leader. He instructs them to begin gathering everything they'll need to set up camp for the night after discovering a man-made trap in the woods. As their new leader, he will be taking half of the food and water. He gives Sue the most rappy look during dinner at night. Well, it was more like Ji Yang having dinner. Charmed by her voluptuous body, he ordered her to make his bed in the cave, then tells Ming to eat up and whatever happens to not enter the cave or he will kill him. Surely the predictable happened, and Sue started screaming. Ming interrupts the Alpha as he decides to enter after having a crisis about whether to stay outside or go in. Ming gets to know the Alpha's fists firsthand before he leaves the cave because Sigma holds his ground in the face of kicks and declares that he cannot leave. They work as a team, outlining each member's essential role through game mechanics. Ji Yang contemplates on Ming's words about being a team and whatnot, and concludes that they can't be the men of his enemy. Then suddenly he hears a man shouting for help, so he sprints back to the camp, and after finding the couple is safe, they rush towards the trap location and watch carefully as the events unfold. The girl eventually tries to alert the man being pursued about the trap head, but Ning silences her and gives an explanation. Since the person chasing the man hasn't shown up yet, it's likely that he's being pursued by a very dangerous man. As a result, RUP witnesses the tribesman murdering the man who looks like a 1970s porn star. After the man leaves, the team bits back to the camp and Ji Yang stays up for the night to guard the place. The next day comes and the couple is collecting coconuts. A rat crept up next to Sue's feet, frightening her boob. Ji Yang rushes over, believing the cannibal is attacking them. When he sees it wasn't the case, he scolds the girl as her shouting might bring some unwanted attention. Then Ning remarks that he came fast to protect them, making him blush. The bustier babe wants to use the restroom after Ji Yang tries to brush it off by saying he was taking a piss nearby, especially after that fatal encounter with the rat. Two tribesmen jump her as she responds to a nature call. They hold her on the ground in a rather sussy position. Meanwhile, the guys are trying to come up with a plan fast to save her, but seeing that her head will be a mashed potato soon, they decide to go out guns blazing as Ning runs down to tackle the guy from behind and Ji Yang aims for the other guy. A shot was fired, knocking the man with the hammer to the ground and forcing the other man to flee. Sue gives Ning a hug, but their happy reunion is cut short when Tracy Candy, a busty blonde who claims to be an LAPD officer, introduces herself. Tracy Candy is, I must say, the most generic American porn star name I have ever heard. Tracy tells the team that they need to move out as that location is not safe anymore, and that there is another group of people they can join. Ji Yang can't fully trust Tracy, though since she looks familiar and he lets her know that, but she brushes it off by saying there are a lot of people who look like her. The tribesman interrupts their conversation with more arrows and a larger group, so Tracy stays behind to protect the team and alerts them to a safe spot where they can wait for her. At this point, Ji Yang tells the group not to discuss the map and code they discovered with anyone, because they can only trust themselves. He also promises to protect them, so long as they follow his instructions. The booba is hesitant to take the offer. I mean, how can you blame her after that quote-unquote accident in the cave? It would be best if she let Ning make the choice if she accepts the offer. With it, Ji Yang takes an almost legendary oath in front of Guan, the Chinese folkloric god of gangsters and warfare. When Tracy, who is 100% attractive and still alive, shows up after they finished it, she advises them that joining the other group is their best chance of survival because they don't have much ammunition left. The team accepts her advice. They eventually reach the location where the other groups are waiting after some time of walking. Candy tells them they must obey the rules, and that fighting between members is not allowed, also adding if someone breaks the rules, they will get punished by exile or even death. After they all chill out, the group starts to introduce themselves. The Ishigaki group's president, Kawa, is the next serious guy up, followed by professional basketball player Wen Qiang. Romeo is an actor who comes next. Officer Candy tells them that south through the woods she found a massive architectural complex surprising everyone. Kawa tells them they must go and explore it. Romeo and the alpha male, however, would prefer to remain at the hideout. If they were to leave, Kawa would have to pay a $10 million check. The alpha then demands double, which Kawa, having no other choice, agrees to. In the middle of the forest, the group makes a visit to the large ancestral structure. They decide to split up as the structure is quite evidently not their mother's crib. While Tracy forms a new group with Sue in it and leads the expedition inside the structure, Ning and Ku stay behind with the guy who voted for Jian. Romeo tries to win Jian's favor, but Jian puts him in his place. Sue gets a flashback where she's talking to Ning, where she reveals that she poisoned Jian when he was trying to have some fun with her. She also tells him that Jian will die after 7 days. Ning tries to convince her that he is not a bad person, but Sue reassures him by saying that she will provide him with an antidote in the future. But it was about time the antidote's effects started to manifest because it causes severe stomach pain. And just as Jian starts feeling the effects of it, the cannibals attack them. The other guy goes and pulls a lever inside the pyramidal structure that starts closing the gates. Just before the gate closes, Ning takes Jian and slides into the pyramid, saving the day despite his original plan to abandon the others. But one of the cannibals' Pobin neurotoxins hits Ning. Sue tells him that he has only 12 hours to live at best. But Ning isn't bothered by it and tells the crew to carry on and find the exit soon so that they can get the antidote. Jian concurs with him, since he too is appreciative of his deeds and regrets his injury. When they discover a man and a few other people drowning in the water, they all begin searching for a way out. They dilly-dally a bit, but in the end decide to save them. We are introduced to a set of characters, one of them revealing himself to be an archaeologist, a Russian man who actually looks useful, and a pair of completely useless ones. Most likely, it will be them who pass away first. The group talks about how this room is a puzzle, and that they must find a way to reach the highest pillar in order to escape. The room gets filled with water every few minutes, and every time the water level rises up, one of the pillars gets submerged. Ning once again proves himself useful even as a 5th grader, as he tells them that the other pillars are just distractions and they should only go forward. They decide that a draw would determine the order and that one of them would climb up and pull the others along as they proceed. Everyone notices a door as they cautiously approach the tallest pillar. After dilly-dallying a bit, they decide to swim towards the door. When they reach it, Rika touches it and goes inside a shady room. The archaeologist informs them that in order to exit the room, a sacrifice needs to be made, according to the writing on the wall. One door opens and Rika enters the hidden chamber. The group exits the water-filled room after swimming across it. As everyone escapes from the flooded room, they start rushing so that they can find an exit. They then come across a room where they find a door that only opens when there is some weight on the table right next to it. The writing on the wall is read aloud by Duran, who then explains to everyone that in order for the door to open, they must sacrifice someone here and let them die. Romeo suggests that since Ning is already halfway dead, they vote on it and let him die there. The vote goes to 6 in favor and 4 in opposition. Shi Yang doesn't like the idea but still participates since he has a plan for saving Ning. Romeo is then severely beaten by Shi Yang, rendering him unconscious. He asks for another vote to see if anyone is against leaving that pussy behind. Since the guy is a hateful good-for-nothing, everyone agrees to leave him behind. Thanks to the noble sacrifice of Romeo, everyone is able to escape and Sue is able to find a cure for Ning. When Shi Yang and Andri return to try to save him, he gets devoured by an enigmatic creature inside the pyramid room. When the group returns, a gigantic snake attacks them, and Shi Yang tumbles down a waterfall in an attempt to repel it. But the water has kept Shi Yang safe and sound. Ning also wakes up and he seems to be alright. The entire gang then encounters the savages who, contrary to their previous record, don't immediately kill everyone because they recognize Jurad and ask him about the one-eyed man who Jurad reveals to be his master. Everyone is taken prisoner by the savages and brought to their village. They inform them that the one-eyed man's medical prowess long ago saved their lives, and they anticipate the same from his apprentice. Jurad explains that he does not have any medical knowledge and that he needs Sue in there too. But the villagers told Sue to back off since they are all Sigma males, and don't think women are good for anything. After insisting a bit, however, it let her in and she diagnoses them all with malaria. While Sue, Tracy, and Andri head into the woods in search of the cure, Jurad confesses that he now believes his master is still alive and working on an immortality study. When Sue and the others return with a cure, time runs out and the villagers are about to kill each other. Now that everyone is safe because of these brave deeds, they begin traveling in the direction of the volcano because they believe that's where the answers are. An important-looking man with half of his face peeled off in a mansion gets a report on the situation of the people on the island. He tells the reporter that as long as Ning is with them, he will keep betting on their survival. An old man who looks like he is Gerard's master is also sitting there with a half-faced man. The guys enjoy their sweet time watching Tracy emerge from the water in a bikini as they get to know the villagers better now that they are all acquainted with them. Xiang's happiness is short-lived though, as she soon discovers some zombie monkeys, another outcome of Gerard's master's immortal research. The monkeys bite one of the villagers, and it's decided that he will be dismembered and thrown in a deep pit. But the villager runs away after he bites another one of the villagers. The one-hand man, the chief's brother, tells everyone how his son was wiped out when he turned into a zombie. Then, after leading everyone up the hill, he reveals that in order to turn the new chief into a zombie, he mixed some zombie organs into the drink during the crowning ceremony. The leader gives the order for everyone to execute any outsiders. They all become separated as they flee from the savages, fighting for their lives. Ning ends up with the most useless members of the squad, Ding and the guy who never shuts up about Chinese lore. The group tries to call Sue as she's running towards them while being chased, but don't call her out as the villagers get to her first. Because she was the one who healed them and allowed her to leave, the villagers spare her. When Ding, the cowardly coward who has made it his mission to be the worst character since Romeo's death, escapes on his own and alerts the crocodiles, Ning's group encounters some difficulties with the crocodiles. Ning gets some flashbacks to his pre-amexia self and once again becomes more like his adult self. Ding runs into Jiyoung, and he forces him to go back and save the other two while he holds up the zombie monkeys. Jiyoung returns after the boys successfully escape, covered in zombie monkey poop. Jiyoung discovers that Ning is a born leader, and the two engage in some nice, brotherly interactions. On the other hand, Andra and Tracy find each other while Sue finds herself with the last two very hungry boys. They fled after being unexpectedly attacked by zombie monkeys. Ning and the others attempt to cross a swamp in the meantime. The archaeologist tells them to slowly swim across. Ding gets scared by a spider and starts to sink. Fortunately, Ning rescues him from the swamp following a flashback. Tracy shares a story about her time at Interpol with everyone else, omitting Andra. She said that she was the one who shot and killed Andra's brother when they were on a mission. Ishigaki tells her to be careful around him. The group eventually starts climbing the volcano. They are looking for Ishigaki, who had just vanished, when they stumble into a pit caused by quicksand. Everyone falls down, and there they find an unconscious Ishigaki. Meanwhile, Ning's group also heads towards the volcano, and they find a hot spring to soak themselves in. While they are unwinding, Gerard contracts malaria. When Ning discovers a cave, he assumes that everyone is inside, but Gerard tells him he can't go any farther. Jiyoung stays there to take care of him and rest up as well since he can't walk anymore either. Andra and Tracy find a man-made underground tunnel and split up to cover more ground. When Tracy finds herself confined to a room, she believes Andra is attempting to murder her. She thus acts as any other person would in that circumstance, that is, she undresses. After a while, Andra actually shows up, and after a misplaced shot, he tries to fight back as well. Ning soon follows the two, and to stop the fight, he threatens them that he would drop all the food in his hand as everyone is already going through a food crisis. Ning and the others retrace their steps to Sue, Ao, and Ishigaki after ending the fight. Sue is brought to the location where he left Jiyoung and the professor by Ning. However, they are nowhere to be seen now. The gang then decides to look inside the facility for them after Ishigaki wakes up. As the group opens several doors and discovers a large number of supercomputers, Ishigaki, a software engineer, claims that this is his big chance. While the others divide up to look about the building, he begins deciphering the information in the laboratory. Tracy and Sue find the place where the immortal monkeys are made, while Ning and the others find a room full of dead skeletons. The boys open another door and find a scary-looking black-haired man sitting on the sofa while grinning. But the guys discover that the man on the couch is also deceased. Somehow his body is still intact. The man turns out to be the lab chief after they search for an ID. They take a small diary with torn-out pages in between when Andrew says that he just saw someone running outside, so he has to chase it. Then we cut to the sexy ladies and one fellow who wet his pants a few days ago. A man is chasing after them once more. He kills Ding, which is, to be honest, a huge favor, and traps the ladies by burying the doors. The girls find a way to escape the barred doors, but the guy, supposedly Andrew, knows the layout of the facility and thus is able to trap them both in a room with the help of a potentially toxic gas. Getting back to Ishigaki and Ning gives him the password written in the diary, but instead of unlocking itself, the computer presents a handprint scanner. Since O is a professional athlete and the only person who can arrive before the lab self-destructs in 10 minutes, Ning persuades O to bring the chief's hand. But when it comes down to it, O gets cold feet. But some motivational words from Ning convince him to finish the job, and he brings not just the hand, but the entire body to the control room. But the anime ends before we can find out if he arrived in time or not. Please remember to like and subscribe if you liked this video in order to see more incredible recaps.